Hi guys, welcome. In this session, let us see how to install Python 3 in our Windows 10 operating system.
I'm Kumar and welcome to my channel on Tech and Tutorials.
So let us go to our browser. So I have already opened my browser and I'm in the python.org site where you will get all the downloads for the Python installer. You can of course go to Google and type Python download Windows, and then you can go to the first link here which says python.org download Windows, and once you are here you can actually download it from here. So let us go to the python.org. You can see how to go from here. So basically if you go to the downloads link here and then if you go to the Windows, you can actually get the same link here. So from here you can download the Windows x86 64-bit executable installer. This is the one which we need right now. Python 3.8.4 is the latest one as the time of this recording, so we can install the latest one. Of course you can actually drill down in this site, and if you want to install some other older versions and all, you can actually do that. But let's go ahead and take the latest one, which is the 3.8.4, and our operating system is Windows 10 64-bit, so we are going to use the 64-bit version. There is also a 32-bit here down, but nowadays most of the systems are coming with 64-bit, so we're going to use the 64-bit installer. So you can click this link and it's going to download it. It's not huge, it's only like 26 MB, so it's going to be pretty fast for me. So it's downloaded and I copied the installer in my desktop, and let us start the installation. So once I have the exe, I can double click to start the installer, which is going to give me this pop-up window, and install launcher for all users recommended, which is going to install for all the users of this system. And then there is an option of add Python 3.8 to the Windows path. I'm going to select this option, and I'm also going to customize my installation. I don't want to install it in the regular path of C users and then my username and app data local programs and path. I'm going to use a custom installation. So let me select the custom installation. Then documentation pip, and I'm going to just keep all this selected by default. So if you have selected all users, there might be a pop-up asking for admin authorization. If you are not in admin login for these system, then you might need to ask the system admin to install it for you for all the users. So I click on next, and then associate files with Python requires the PyLauncher. I'm just going to keep all the default selections, and then I'm going to change the path of the installer. So I'm going to put it inside a folder C softs Python 3.8. It's better to keep our system organized, so I will just try to install it in a certain folder, all these software. So, and then we can click install. You should see pop-up where it will ask you, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device, and you have to click yes in there, and then the installation actually starts. It's going to take some time for the installation,
so I will pause and come back once the installation is done.
So now that I have installed Python in my Windows system, let us go ahead and see that it is working properly. Let's go to our Windows menu and start typing idle. If you are have multiple versions in your system, then you should see something like this. I already have Python 3.6 in my system and Python 3.8 I just installed. I also have Python 2.7 here. That's why you are seeing this Python idle, Python GUI here. So let's go ahead and try our new Python 3.8, and it brings us the Python idle window, which is the command prompt for Python shell. So you can see here Python 3.8, 3.8.4, which we just installed. And let us go ahead and type something like 4 plus 5 and see that it's working fine. Let's try another command, print hi there, and okay, so all seems fine. So 3.8.4 is installed fine in my system. Let's go ahead and exit this. You have to do with the parenthesis exit, so it clearly says that use exit with parenthesis or use Ctrl+Z to exit out of this command. So just do, and it's going to exit out of this shell. Next, let us go to the Python shell, actually command shell. So you can again see 3.6 here and 3.8 which we just installed, and I click on this, you will see the command prompt and within the Python shell. So let us do the same command from Windows command, and this is also fine. Let us do an exit and it exits out. Next, let us see how we can run it from our command prompt, the Windows command prompt. So for that, we might need to update our environment variables. So let's go to the environment variables and let's search for environment variables. If you go to the Windows menu and type environment variables and select it, then you will get the environment variables pop-up dialog, and go to the environment variables. And if you see here, the path is added for my user. It's not added in the system variables. You see here C soft Python 3.8 scripts and C soft Python 3. This is where we installed. So let us add this in the system's variables. So for that, we need to go to the path, and if you see here, I already have Python 2.7 and Python 3.6.3. So we can add a new variable here with so this is the path where we install C soft Python 3.8. Let's copy this whole path, and then we can add a new variable here. And we also need to add the scripts folder, just like the other Python which I have in my system. And let's add one more here. So CRPTS scripts, and let's do one thing. Let's move up this above the Python 2.7. So move up 3.8, click OK, OK, and OK. And then let's go to the command prompt, and then in the command prompt let us type Python here, and you should be seeing 3.8.4. So I can print this hello Python and I should see the print statement here, and then we can exit out using the same command, exit with the parenthesis, and you should be exiting out of the Python shell. So this is possible because I have moved up my Python 3.8 environment variables above the 2.7. So if you are like working in multiple versions of Python, then what we can do is we can rename this python.exe to something else like Python 3.8. So for that, let us do one thing. Let us copy this and let us paste it here. Copy the python.exe and rename this to something like Python 3.8.exe. So whenever I type Python 3.8, I should be logging into Python 3.8.4. That's what I have done. And then we go to the environment variables, and then we can update the path so that I can also use my Python 2.7 with the Python 3.8. So what I will do is I will just move this one down below 2.7, both the Python folder and the Python scripts folder. And then I will click OK, OK, and OK. I would need to close this command prompt and open another prompt. So let us open another. Now if I type Python, I should be going inside 2.7.3, and I will do an exit. And if I type Python 3.8, I should be going inside Python 3.8.4. And since I have another Python 3.6 in my system, and I have already named it as Python 3 there, so what I'll do is I can put Python 3 and I should be seeing Python 3.6.3 here. So now I have 3 Pythons in my system, 2.7, 3.8 and 3.6 in my system, and whenever I need I can switch. So most of the time we would not be using the base Python. We would be creating a virtual environment out of any of these Pythons, whichever I need to work on. That can be done from the command prompt as well as from any of the IDEs like PyCharm. So we don't need to worry much about all this path and all, since we would be just taking the base Python from this whatever is installed in my system and then creating a virtual environment, and our project would be using the virtual environment Python. We would not be using the base Python in my system. So that's all in this session. Thanks so much for watching, and do subscribe my channel for more such videos.